Hey, thinking is so overrated. How many times have you wanted to do something and you talked yourself out of doing it because of your thoughts, because you started having doubts, because you started denying your ability, because you started thinking, what will people think? Because you didn't want to step out of your comfort zone, or you felt like the type of person you are doesn't fit into this idea or into this thing that you want to do. How many times have you talked yourself out of something? Thought is so overrated. And I'm speaking to myself as I'm saying this. You cannot allow the way you think stop you from being the person you're meant to be. Because a lot of times, many of us have allowed our insecurities, we've allowed the things people have said about us, we've allowed, low vibrational energy to dictate the way we maneuver and navigate our lives. And if you do that, you will regret it, and you will never get to a point of fulfillment. You will never feel fulfilled. You will always feel like you're missing something in your life. And so you have to take that risk and you have to step out of your comfort zone. And this is not me saying that you should do things without, balancing your risk to reward. You shouldn't do things that are harmful. You shouldn't do things that can be destructive. But you should definitely do things that you're passionate about, but challenge you. Because if it doesn't challenge you, then it doesn't even require you to think about it, right? But it's the things that challenge us. So that's a big signifier. That's a signal that if you start overthinking about something, if you start getting anxious about something, if you start feeling like, all these doubts start popping into your head and what if scenarios, if that's what's happening, then you should do it. You should absolutely do it. Because you'll always ask yourself, what if you've never done it? And so once you do it, then you have the experience and you can move forward with that. Does that mean every time you do it, the experience is going to be, oh my gosh. No, it just means that you don't have to live with that thought in your head. You don't have to live with that. Does that mean we get impulsive and we just do things because we think about it, or we do things that we don't necessarily want to do just because we're scared or fearful? No, there's always a boundary, and everyone has enough intellectual sense to find their own balance in that. But I'm just saying that, you cannot allow your mind, you cannot allow your thoughts, you cannot allow your doubts, you cannot allow, things that make you uncomfortable keep you from being who you want to be, keep you from getting to where you want to go. And that's it. That's really it. Don't let your mind be your enemy. You know what I mean? It's so many things that are opposing you already in this world. Don't let your mind be one of those things. Right? Don't let your mind be the biggest thing. Because a lot of times that is the biggest opposition in your life. That's your biggest enemy. Is your own thoughts, your own ideas of yourself, the way you allow yourself to feel based on the focus you have. And I know that it's hard to reframe our minds. It's hard to reframe our minds. So it takes, practice. Step one, get off social media. It's a lot of times we have things in our way that we don't even realize are having a negative effect on our lives. And one of those things is social media. If you sitting on here comparing and contrasting all day, making judgments, yes, no, beautiful, ugly, I'm gonna like this, I'm gonna comment on this, I don't like that, I'm gonna start some beef. You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff is fake news. A lot of this stuff is an illusion that we're so invested in and don't even realize. So that's one way to bring your mind into submission. Another way is meditate. Sit in silence sometimes. Observe your thoughts. What are you thinking about? What unconscious thoughts are flowing through your mind? What's that stream of thought like? And sit in a third person point of view as an observer and really watch your thoughts and take those notes. Yo, I don't like that thought. I don't like that thought. Point out how many negative thoughts you have about yourself and start to rewire that. You have to start telling yourself the opposite of what your mind tells you to reprogram. Do you battle it? No. With compassion, you say, no, I don't think that way anymore. A lot of us sit there and battle ourselves all day and we wonder why we can't get over that hump. We're so opposed to ourselves. Who we want to be is so opposed to that thought process. You know what I mean? And you don't really even have to get entangled with it. You can really sit in that space of observance and really just watch it. And the more space you create, then you start to realize, yo, these little minuscule thoughts, what? They're not even, how was I ever letting these dictate my decisions? How was I ever letting these dictate my decisions? Because once you separate and detach, then you are your authentic self. And then you're aware and you're maneuvering through pure consciousness. And pure consciousness is fearless, it's powerful. Because it doesn't have any attachment to anyone's opinion or your own opinion. It doesn't care. Not in the sense that it's uncompassionate, but in the sense that it's all encompassing. So what is there to care about? What is there to care about? Does a king care about what the peasant has to say? Can the king, will the peasant's opinion ever really even reach the king? The queen? You know what I mean? So you got to think about it like that. Like, those limiting thoughts that you have to put yourself in a position where you see them as low vibrational. And if you are sitting in the position of awareness that you're meant to be in, then you see those things as low vibrational. You see them for what they are. Illusions. You see them for what they are. Fake news. You see them for what they are. False. They're just there as a nuisance. It's like, you know what I mean? Someone poking you all day. And you really thinking you have no power over them. But as soon as you flinch and tell them to stop, it's like, oh. And it's not even like that, man. I'm really trying to paint this picture of clarity. Because it's really an act of love. An act of love for yourself. To allow yourself to not be, you know what I mean, under tyranny of your thoughts. Under the jurisdiction, the dictatorship of your thoughts. It's giving yourself permission to be. And that takes love, and it takes understanding, and it takes compassion. And sometimes just to rewind, yeah, it does take rewiring and saying, when you have those negative thoughts, yo, Michael, we don't think that way anymore. Michael, that's not real news. Michael, that's an insecurity. That's not the reality of the situation. Michael, that you're not walking in love right now. Michael, you know what I mean? It's checking yourself until you get to the point where it's second nature, you know? And this is a practice we should all be doing, and we have to continuously do, because our default, a lot of times, we spent most of our lives in a state of unconsciousness. We spent most of our lives in a state of insecurity. We spent most of our lives being led by the ego. So when you decide that that's not who you want to be anymore, that's not what you want to live in anymore, It's a process, man. It's a process. But that's all I want to say. In conclusion, do not get in your own way. Your thoughts are overrated. Do not allow negative thoughts to dictate the way you navigate your life. Sit in a state and in a space of conscious awareness where you are observing yourself. Detach from things that are putting you in a judgmental state, in a compare and contrast state. Stay away from people who are constantly wanting to do things that are low vibrational, wanting to compare, hating, talking about people, gossiping. You know what I mean? Stay around people in environments and in spaces that challenge you, that encourage you, that see the best in you and require the best of you. Don't get in spaces where you feel like you the smartest person in the room. Don't get in spaces where you start feeling like you high and mighty and you know what I mean? Always be in a space where it feels like equality. It feels like equity and equanimity because it's a space of growth, not a space of stagnation, not a space of, you know what I mean, high-minded people who think they somewhere they're really not, spreading fake news, hyping up your ego. Nah, stay around people who see the God in you, talk to the God in you, and require the God in you. And you should be the same person for people. Be that same person for people. Because you have to be what you want. You have to be what you want. You have to be what you want to see. You don't find that. You become that. It's a journey of self-discovery. But you have to get out of your own way. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm saying a lot to say a little. I'm going in circles. Thank you for tapping in. My name is Prince Teflon. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. If you tapped in, I really hope that it resonated. I hope that you stop getting in your own way. Stop allowing your thoughts, negative thoughts, to dictate the way you navigate your life. Stop allowing people's opinions and your own opinions to put you in a space of limitation, because you're a limitless being. Your purpose in this life is to become authentically you, to dissolve your egoic self and step into your true self, your spiritual self, to love unconditionally, to see through the eyes of God with clarity, without judgment, without projection, so you can see the heaven that exists on this earth and you can be harmonic and synchronized with that energy. And that's all I got to say. Thank you. Peace.